countdown.
Tahniah! Siaran langsung ini dibawakan khas kepada anda oleh Akademi YouTuber Malaysia. Sebuah inisiatif e-didik Malaysia dan Kelab Guru Malaysia. Tumpukan perhatian anda. Siaran langsung akan bermula sebentar lagi. Link sijil akan diberikan di hujung siaran ini. Pastikan diisi dalam tempoh yang ditetapkan. Terima kasih.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and hi everyone, teachers, parents and all the wonderful pupils. Welcome to Pusat Tuisyen Academy YouTuber bermula percuma selama-lamanya percuma. How are you doing today? I hope all of you are ready for today's lesson. Before we proceed, let's begin our session with Kitab Al-Fatihah. And for the non-Muslim, you can pray according to your religion. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, let me introduce myself to those who don't know me. I am Madam Aisha Blue and today I am the moderator of the day. As everyone knows, the schools are now closed due to CMCO. How do you feel? But don't worry, teachers of Academy YouTuber can help you to prepare for your STPM. Our Mathematics T STPM will be on our Mathematics T STPM class will be on Saturday, okay? Like this, like today, 4 p.m. every week. Okay, so please set reminder and fill in the timetable that you can get from e-didik Malaysia Telegram group. Alright, let me introduce our teacher for today's lesson. We have Miss Lim Yet Im, or known as Teacher Im in the house. Okay, so that is our teacher today. Okay, we are now live from Miss Lim Yet Im's channel and do support her channel as she has lots of mathematics videos for STPM in it. Today we are going to learn functions graph. Make sure to follow the class until the end and not to forget we do have Cikgu Ling. Okay, Cikgu Ling, where are you Cikgu Ling? Okay, Cikgu Zana. Okay, Cikgu Rizal. And also Mr. Shahnon to ensure the smoothness of the class. Okay, so before we begin, I have a few reminders to all of you. First, pay attention to our lesson. Stop chatting and use the chat session wisely. Number two, please pay attention to our regarding the certificate link. Okay, regarding the certificate link, the link will be given at the end of our session. So make sure to follow the lesson until the end. And the link will only be active within 30 minutes, okay? Please, and please to fill up the forms correctly and within the time limit, okay? And the password for the certificate for today's lesson is Limau. L-I-M-A-U, Limau. Okay, and for those who don't have the e-didik email, please apply because we will be using the e-didik email soon. Okay, we will invite you to be on stage, but make sure you are ready with your camera and microphone on. Okay, and mute your YouTube while you are on the stage. So without further ado, let's welcome Teacher Im. Okay, the floor is you. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Blue. Hi, I'm Teacher Im. I make videos to help my students score better in STPM ST paper. Well, I hope my videos can be helpful for you too. Yeah, that's my tagline. All right. Now, I have here, we are going to talk about functions today. But before we go on, I would like to show you something. Okay, let's go to the slide. Cikgu Ling, thank you. Now, if you look at the slides here, I have other maths teacher, right? I have other maths teacher who will be coming over soon. Last week you saw teacher Eileen with me in the studio, and then today you have Cikgu Zana. She's there. Just now you already she is already hi and bye. Not yet bye. Hi, we say hello to you all. So these are my teammates. Actually, I have two more at maths teacher. Okay, but they are not here yet, so I didn't introduce them yet. So I have two. Teacher Eileen is teaching mathematics T, and teacher Zana is teaching mathematics M. So mathematics M students, go and tell your friend, those taking mathematics M, go and tell them, I think of you too. I think of the students who are taking mathematics M too. All right. So now, let's say if only you all are having class, how about your brothers and your sisters? Well, no worries. Here I have there are other subjects, okay? We have other subjects for STPM. We have Cikgu Akila for pengajian Am. There, our Madam Aisha, the Madam Blue just now, she is teaching math. And then we have Cikgu Rizal, just now you saw him. He's teaching pengajian perniagaan. And we have two more here, Cikgu Hao and Cikgu Yimiha. They are teaching accounts. Okay, so I think this is about all we have for STPM. I believe they just found a Sunny Visual teacher for STPM too. You can tell your friends to stay tuned. And for your brothers and sisters, there are lots of more. Okay, so we have like so many teachers in Academy YouTuber. Okay, which will give you. Okay, just now you saw the beautiful Cikgu Ling. Okay, she's the maths teacher in teaching mathematics. Okay, and then anybody else here? Oh, okay, they are not with me today, but sometimes they will be with me. But so that's my beautiful Miss Ling. And then you can find the timetable for your class in www.academyyoutuber.com. Okay, so you should check this website out and make sure your brothers and your sisters also get free tuition from us. All right. So today, like as promised, I will be talking about I will be talking about functions. Now, functions in Form 6 is kind of different from functions in Form 5. In Form 5, when you learn functions, you basically just learn function. But in Form 6, functions are separated into 4 parts. Okay, you have functions, you have exponential and logarithmic functions, you have trigo, favorite, right? I know your favorite is trigonometry, favorite. And then we have the polynomial and rational functions. Okay, so in functions itself, you have 4 different things. We will try to cover for you. Don't worry. Okay. If you don't understand anything, just leave comment in the chat box. We will try to help you. Okay. Last week somebody left a comment, and today's lesson is based on that few person. I think I counted like 6 person who asked for it. So I made this video for them. Okay, so you can leave your message, leave the words in the chat box, okay, and then tell me what you need. We will try to make it for you. Okay, we will try. We cannot promise 100%, but at least if we don't make it in the class tambahan, okay, we don't make it in the class, the free tuition class, we will also make them in our channel. Okay, so subscribe Right. Next one is, well, as you know, today I'm going to talk about functions. So function got 4 subtopics inside there. We will cover one by one. So the functions. As for functions, we will have inverse function, composite function. Very familiar. Okay, you learned that in your Form 5. Inverse function and composite function. Then you have the once you learn when you are doing inverse function, your teacher will have told you during when you are doing inverse function, you have to check one-to-one. Okay, you have to check about one-to-one. And then when you are doing composite functions, there will be range and domain involved. Okay, and the big thing inside function this chapter is sketching of graph. Why do I say so? Because from 2013 until 2019, basically most of the question comes out involving this sketching of graph. Okay, the ticks that you see around here, around this beautiful flower. I don't know why is my earphone disturbing. I'm not digging my ear, okay, baby. I am like, this is disturbing me. See, the earphone is trying to fall off. Okay, so now, what you have here, the double tick means it came out twice. Okay, the double tick means it actually came out twice from my from 2013 until 2019. Okay, I cannot give you a question for 2020 because I have no idea what is going to come out. So the highest it went is until 2019, the ulangan paper, which the semester 3 have set for it. Okay, so from 2013 until 2019, functions, sketching of graph basically came out a lot. Okay, so I gave it the 3 ticks. And then inverse function, moderate, I give it the 2 ticks. And between them, they have composite function, range, domain, and one-to-one. Okay, so most of the time, inverse function will come together with one-to-one. So inverse function will ask you to sketch graph, and then they will ask you whether the graph is a one-to-one function or not, if the function is one-to-one or not. Okay, so most of the time when you look at the question, it doesn't like, it's not like Form 5 question. Form 5 question, when you look at it, I say, okay, I'm doing inverse. I only do inverse. But in Form 6, they mix and they match. Okay, if they are talking about functions, they could be asking for inverse, and at the same time, they ask for composite. They might ask for composite, and then they will ask you what is the inverse of the composite. So it will go back and forth, or when they ask for the composite, they might ask you what is the range or the domain of the composite. Okay, and maybe after you do the composite, they will ask you if you can sketch a graph for that composite function. Okay, so you have to understand it is a thorough thing. You cannot like study, okay, I love composite, I only do composite, I don't need to study inverse. What if, like I say, it comes composite and inverse? Then you will miss your marks already. Okay, so you have to understand in Form 6, they mix and match the question. Wow. So I give you a triple tick. Is that a question? Somebody trying to say something? No?
No,
okay.
no.
Now, no. Okay, thank you. So this triple tick is actually problematic for lots of students, because most of the time students have no idea what and how to sketch the graph. Okay, because most of the question in a function, not I would say, it is easier. For example, when you want to find range or domain, it also use sketching of graph. When you want to find whether the graph is a one-to-one function or not, it also uses sketches of graph.
Teacher Im, okay, there is a request actually from Teba Sangori. Teacher, please give us tips for sketching the graph. Tips for sketching the graph.
Yes, baby, I'm doing it today. This is what I put a triple tick on my work today, because I am going to teach you from step 1 until you are able to sketch the graph. But I'm going to concentrate on basic graph first. If you want to see the logarithm graph, exponent graph, trigonometric graph, well, you know the drill. You have to go to my channel. Well, because I only have 1 hour, I couldn't cover everything here, okay? It's not that I don't want to, it's I couldn't, okay? I need the time. Okay, today I'm going to concentrate on sketching the graph and then teach you how to find the domain and range. And at the same time, I will talk about the one-to-one function, okay? To check whether the function is one-to-one. For composite and inverse function, you studied that in Form 5 before. It is actually the same, okay? It is actually the same. So I don't want to cover that. So today I will cover from sketching of graph to one-to-one, sketching of graph, finding domain and range. Let's get to it. Now, we want to do sketching of graph, so we have to know some basic graph. Okay, so this is a straight line. Okay, this is called the identity function. This identity function is actually y equals to x or fx equals to x. Okay, so what will happen if I want the domain and the range of this graph? Well, let me okay, domain means it's on the x-axis. We will be seeing anything from the x-axis anything on the x-axis. Okay, so I draw that so that I know that is the x-axis, and range will talk about anything on the y-axis. So I will talk about whatever on the y-axis. So if you look at this function graph, you will notice that on the x-axis, the domain covers the whole thing. So the domain covers from there to over that side and covers from here to over that side. So the domain of this graph, you can write it as from negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay? Why do I use a round bracket for that? Well, I use a round bracket for that because there is no limit to that infinity. It is until the end and until the end. Okay, so there's no limit for it. So I use a round bracket. So sometimes you say, teacher, the question asks for set. Can I write the answer in set notation? So let's say if the question asks for set notation, well, this is the set will look like this, x, and then you have a colon. Sometimes inside the textbook, you will see a straight line here, okay, or inside revision book. Okay, then you will say that x is the element of real numbers. Why real numbers? Because it covers the whole thing. So you might ask me, teacher, should I write this answer or this answer? Actually, if the question did not mention in set notation, you can use both. You can write your answer in both. But if the question asks you whether in set notation, then you use the set method. Okay? But I always tell the students, this type, the notation method is much better because it's harder to make mistake. Okay? Now, talk about the range. Okay, let me talk about the range. So, let's see. Let me talk about the range. So, the range, for example, if I take the range here, I take the blue color. Okay, so let's say if I want to talk about the range. So, this is the position of the range from there to there. So, again, it is involving the whole length of the y-axis. So if it involves the whole length of the y-axis, so the range is going to be from negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay? So if I want the negative of the graph, I use back the same color. I don't want to change color. So this will give me this line here. Can I get a straight line? Yeah, okay, I got a straight line. Well, so that is that straight line there. So that is the negative x. Okay, so I will have my negative x over there, and I will get negative means it will reflect. Okay, if you have a negative x, so it reflects on the y-axis. So when I want the domain, if I want the domain, it's going to be also from negative infinity to positive infinity. And if I want the range, again, it will involve the whole thing here on the y-axis. So again, it will become from negative infinity to positive infinity rounded. Okay, so this is the first graph that you need to know. Now, for the second graph that you need to know, this one you have to be very careful, okay? Because this is a squaring function. A squaring function involves what? A squaring function involves minimum or a maximum point. So how to see whether it's a minimum or a maximum point? Well, the minimum point or maximum point will involve whatever you have in front here. Okay, whatever you have in front here. If this is a positive, for example, if this is a A, then if you get like 2 for the A, then it is a positive number, you get a smiling graph. If it is a negative value, you get a sad graph. Okay, so for this case, if I have a smiling graph here, the original basic graph, you have a smiling graph here. So for negative, you should be getting a sad graph. Let me draw the sad graph. Okay, it's very easy to remember. Well, if you're A, if you get, for example, is your maths, you get more than positive number, okay, you will be smiling all the way. But if your mathematics, you get your teacher minus your marks until there's no more marks left, you will be having a sad face.
Teacher,
yes.
Teacher Im,
Yes.
there is a question from Kachun. Hi, teacher.
Yes.
Can I know how to determine range and domain without using graph?
Okay, that one you will need to learn that. I will need to give you another lesson for that. Okay, so because without actually, okay, you have the arithmetic technique, but algebraic method. Okay, we call it the algebraic method. If you use that, actually it is harder to do the domain and the range than when you sketch a graph. Believe me. If you do a lot of graphing already, graph will come out very fast. Graph will come out very fast. And from the graph, you will see the domain and the range right in front of your eyes. And when you write the answer, there won't be any mistake. Okay?
Okay, teacher Im. Another question from La Jia Yu. Teacher,
Okay.
the answer is always start from the negative infinity to positive infinity.
Not all. For the case that because I'm doing the basic graph. Okay, basic graph usually for straight line, for squared, is still positive infinity to negative infinity. Let me show you. Okay, like for this one, the value, the graph is sitting right on top of for the x-axis. So all the domain will be there, all those value over there. So the domain of this graph is still negative infinity to positive infinity. However, the range is different. Okay, the range is different because the range here is going upwards. Okay, there is no numbers at the bottom. There's no number at the bottom. So this value here, from this starting point here, this minimum point here, that number is 0. that number is 0. So our range will start from 0 and then comma, and then it will involve all the numbers on top of the y, on top of the x-axis. So it will be like all those numbers on the y-axis. So here I have infinity. Okay, here I have infinity because it won't stop. The leg of this one will not stop. So what should I put here? Is it a round or a square? For this case, because 0 is the starting point, so I will start with a square. Why I put a square? Because there's no number below 0. Because this is an x squared, all numbers are positive answer, and 0 are also included. Because if you put 0 squared, there is also an answer. But for the other end, I have to put round brackets because there is no ending on the other side. Okay, so now for this case, if I want to write them, in the format of set. Okay, I want to write this in set, so I will have to write like this. Okay, my y, because this is range is y, then I have a colon there, and I will write this y, okay, have to be bigger and equals to 0. Then I close this, right? Or if I want to talk about the element of, I also can talk about the element of. Okay, if you just leave your answer like this, you also will get marks. Later you will see, I have one question. This one, the domain and range, most of the time they carry 1 or 2 marks. So if they ask for domain or they ask for range, that will be it. Okay, so this one, if they write in set notation. Okay, how about this one? This one, according to this question, it is from the top here. For my domain, is all over there and there. So it is still negative infinity to positive infinity. But for my range, is from 0 until the bottom. So bottom means I need to start from, it will start from 0 until negative infinity. Okay, so it will be from, I will write, usually the small number is on the left and the big number is on the right. So for this case, the small number is negative infinity and the big number is 0. Okay, and then I will close the bracket to know that it stops at 0. It won't go any further than that. Okay, so this is for the quadratic graph. Now, why do I say just now, quadratic graph, you need to be careful? Why do I say that? Well, quadratic graph, I need to be careful because quadratic graph involve minimum and maximum points. Okay, so whenever you do any quadratic equation, it is best to know where is the minimum point first, or where is the maximum point first, because you have to make sure the curve is, you can either see the minimum, whether the minimum point or maximum point is within the range that we want, or it's just a tiny bit of tail here that we need, or a full curve. Okay, or a full curve. So we have to be very careful. Like for this case, it's a full curve because this is an x squared graph, but sometimes it is not. Okay, sometimes it is not. All right, so that, and then another thing, sometimes quadratic graph will move to the left or move to the right, so it will involve some intersection points. Okay, now let me continue. If I have a cubic graph, when I have a cubic graph, I will be having, like, if I want the domain of this cubic graph, if I want the domain, it will involve all over there and all over there. So again, it will give me from negative infinity to positive infinity. And if I want the range, it's also going up and coming down. So it will also involve negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay, but if I, of course, for cubic, if I want the negative side of the cubic, it reflects. Anything with a negative, it reflects. So my cubic will look like this. Oops. Okay, my cubic will look like this. It will, I can't seem to be getting it into the 0. Yes, okay. The cubic will look like that. So it has to like touch the 0 because I don't have anything over that side. So it has to like move to the 0. And again, if you look at the domain, it will involve all on the x-axis. So it's negative x until positive, and it involves all from the bottom. So it is going to be from negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay, that is cubic graph. Let's go for this type of graph, modulus graph. Now, modulus graph, it will involve the modulus. Modulus means it is talking about the x inside. So when I have a modulus graph, the basic graph is a V. Okay, the basic graph is a V. So the domain will be all on the x-axis, all on the x-axis. So again, when I want to write the domain, it's going to be negative infinity to positive infinity. However, when I want to write the range, same like the case just now, I start from 0 here until up there. Okay, so which means the range is going to be from 0 until positive infinity. So the small number is 0, so I will start from 0, and the big number on top there is all infinity, and infinity have no limit, so my range is round. Okay, now we do have question modulus negative x inside here. So, but I'm not going to talk about this because I'm going to talk about the reflection only. So I have here negative of the modulus graph. So the negative of this modulus graph means it will reflect on the x-axis. So the modulus graph will have a negative value. Okay, so it will look like this. Okay, it will look like this. So the negative of the modulus graph is reflected on the x-axis. Okay, it's reflected on the x-axis, and it okay. Remember, it has to start from 0 here. Okay, the thing is kind of out of control, so I like draw it out of the way. It's supposed to start from 0, so from 0 until downwards. So the domain is still the same, from negative infinity to positive infinity, but the range is to the end. Okay, so it will start from 0 and it will end. It will start from 0 and it ends with negative infinity. So I will need to write, remember, we always write the small one first. So the negative infinity will come first. The small number is on the left and the big number is on the right. So over here, we write a 0 and it will close up like that. Okay, so that will give you from here until non-stop. The small number is negative infinity, so we write the small number first, followed by the big number. Okay, so let's talk about reciprocal graph. Now, for reciprocal graph, we have two sides like this. Okay, we learned this in your Form 5. So the negative of this reciprocal graph, will be on this side here, like this, and over this side. Okay, now I need to remind you something about reciprocal graph. So let me get rid of this for a while. Let me get rid of this. Okay, let's say for reciprocal graph. Okay, for reciprocal graph, let me get rid of that also. Now, let's say for reciprocal graph, you accidentally touch the x-axis and you accidentally touch the y-axis, the x and the y-axis like this. You will get marks minus. You cannot Reciprocal graph comes with asymptotes. It has a horizontal and vertical asymptote. So, which means whatever you do, your graph cannot touch the asymptote. Asymptote means the line that the graph will never reach. Why the graph can never reach zero? Because if it is zero, the function is undefined. So it cannot touch. One more thing. Let's say, okay, let me get rid of that too. Okay, let's say if you are reciprocal graph, this one is correct already. And then suddenly when you reach at the bottom here, then you have a curve go up. Okay, let's say if you have a tiny beanie curve going up there, that also will not be considered a reciprocal graph. Okay, even if your curve is a tiny beanie skinny weeny curve like this, means the pemeriksa can see the tail going up, you will lose mark too. Okay, so please be careful of what you draw. It has to be perfectly following the line, and it cannot touch the line. It is supposed to be a smooth curve. Let me try again. Later you all make complaints on me. Yeah. You know, it's still crooked.
Okay. Better.
And like that. Okay. So this already draw a crooked line. Oh well, let's talk about the domain. Now, according to this question, the domain is from here until there, and the domain is from here until there. You have
Okay,
a tiny
Teacher Im. Okay, there is a question from Lo Jia Yu. Teacher, is it necessary to label everything on the graph sketch? Is
Okay,
it
I will. Yes. Wait,
Okay.
I will. All right. Now, I will answer that after I finish this domain. Let me finish first. Okay, so according to this question, okay, the label, yeah, right. Yes. So what you need to know is when you sketch a graph, it is necessary to label. For example, here I didn't have the zero there. Okay, why I say that? Okay, if you look at your STPM paper, you will notice that sketching of graph involve 3 marks. Okay, 3 marks. Most of the question involve 3 marks. 1 mark they will give for the curve. 1 mark is always for the curve or the lines or whatever that they ask you to draw. Okay, whether it's a curve or a line or analytic geometry, ellipse, circle, parabola, and so on. Okay, that is the curve. 1 mark. You get the shape correct. They will give you 1 mark. Okay, second marks is they will be looking for intersection points. Maybe there is intersection points and all those maximum minimum point intersection point, the details for the graph. They will give you marks for the details of the graph. And lastly, there is 1 mark for all correct. Okay, there is 1 mark for all correct. All correct means all the things are labeled. For example, if you want to draw this graph, actually this one still cannot get a full marks. Why I say so? Because I didn't label fx equals to 1 over x. I did not label that. If I did not label that, the pemeriksa assume I don't know what is that. Okay, so especially when you are sketching graph, that this is basic graph. Everybody know this is a reciprocal graph, but there are sometimes graph that, like for example, when you are doing like a semester 2, you have beautiful sketch there in differentiation. That time you might have different labels, because even this chapter piecewise where you have function 1, function 2, function 3, and you are supposed to put them together into one graph, that also you need to label, because sometimes you will get a straight line, sometimes you will get a curve, sometimes the straight line will join to the curve, sometimes they don't join to the curve, so you have to label the graph. Okay, so I need to continue. It's already 4:40. Oh my God, why is the time fly? Why time flies? Okay, now the domain is here. 0 is not included. So I will have from negative infinity. I will start from the small number. So I have negative infinity. 0 is not included. So I have round. Okay. 0 is not included. So it all the x-axis here and all there. So it is not including this 0, x equals to 0. So 0 is not included. So how we combine with the next one? The next one we put a union or we put a or. Okay, you can put a union. Okay, union or. You can put either one. The other side will start from 0, round bracket 0 until positive infinity, and it is rounded. Okay, and the range also same. The range is also same. I will have negative infinity until 0, and then or, and I will have the other one will be, or I can write union, like I said just now, from 0 until until positive infinity. Okay, if I want to write this in the form of set, so this will give me x because this is domain. So I have colon, and then I have my x is less, not equals to, no equals to. If you put equals to, then it's wrong. Okay, less than 0, and or you will have x bigger than 0. Then the set notation. The y for the range, it will be from the y there, it will be almost the same. Okay, so that is the x. Only for the range, you will write y and then colon, and then you say the y is less than 0. Again, you cannot put equals to because 0 is not included. So you put or, and then you will write y, which is bigger than 0, and then you close the set notation. Okay, so for this one, when you want the domain, it also will be the same. Okay, it will be exactly the same like here. So you will have negative infinity to 0, and then if just now I put the or there, now I write the union. So you either can put both of the either one of them. Don't go and put both of them. So you have from 0 to positive infinity, and over this side it involves all on top there. So it will be from negative infinity to 0, union with 0 until positive infinity. All rounded, no square. Why? Because the 0 here is not included. So you cannot put a square. Okay? So that is reciprocal graph. Next thing, let's talk about the square root graph. Okay, the squared graph. For the squared graph, it has is on moving to the right hand side like that. So for the negative ones, you will have a graph at the bottom. Okay, at the bottom. So it will involve the reflection from the bottom like this. Okay, so this will be your fx equals to negative square root of x. Okay, so it's a reflection on the x-axis. So let's write the domain. You can try it out. Okay, you can try on a piece of paper. Try to write the domain. So here it starts from 0.
Teacher
Yes.
What if you let the students to try first before you further
Yes.
with the explanation?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah, let's have 1 minute break.
Yes, let's do so. You can play.
Tuisyen online percuma. Tuisyen online percuma. Layari www.academyyoutuber bagi mengikuti tuisyen online secara percuma. Prasekolah, sekolah rendah, sekolah menengah, semua ada di Akademi YouTuber. Rujuk jadual di laman sesawang www.academyyoutuber.com. Semoga masa terluang anak-anak anda diisi dengan sebaiknya. Tuisyen online percuma, mestilah Akademi YouTuber.
Yay, I'm
Okay,
back.
welcome
Am
back.
I?
Yes, continue.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's continue. I hope you got the answer already. So I need the domain, right? So when I need the domain, what I'm going to do is I need to look at my x-axis. So the x-axis start from 0. So I will start from 0 and I will put a square. Why? Because square root of x involve this 0. So I will start from 0 and it will go to positive infinity. Okay, that's my domain. If you want to write in set, also can. Now, if I want the y-axis, so I will look at the y-axis, and again, for the range, I have the same answer. Why? Because it will start from 0 until the top, so it will start from 0 until positive infinity. Okay, let's say if I want to sketch the negative one, so it will reflect on the x-axis. When it reflects on the x-axis, this will give me the domain is starting from 0 again. So I will start like 0 until it's all positive. Okay, it's all positive. So I have positive infinity. But when I talk about the range, I have a different answer. Why? Because it will start from 0, but it is going downwards. Downwards means it's all negative. So I always start from the smaller number. So it's a negative infinity, and it will end up with 0. It will stop there, and that will be a square brackets. Any questions? Should be okay. Check your answer. I bet you are correct. Okay, because we are just talking about the basic graph. Okay, next type of graph. We did this already, so let's go on. Okay, the next type of graph, we have the graph with a reciprocal squared. When we have a reciprocal squared, means we have 1 over x squared. All these are basic graph, okay? Only sometimes they have extras in the basic graph. So I have 1 over x squared. So when we want to talk about the domain of 1 over x squared, so we talk about over here. It all involves from 0 here all over, and here all over. When we talk about the domain, we are actually involving everything. Okay? Except what? Except here, right? Except this line. It cannot be 0. Why it cannot be 0? If this is 0, the function does not exist. Okay, so if it is 0, the function does not exist. So this answer is going to be from negative infinity to 0, 0 not included, and then I can write all, and then I will start back from 0, and then I will say that it is infinity on the other side. Okay, how about this one? Okay, it involves all the one on top, so that will be positive infinity. But however, this line cannot touch here. Okay, this line will be like from 0 until positive infinity. This answer only got one side because both of them is on top of the on top of the x-axis. It's all to the top portion. Okay, so what I will do is I will write from 0. It cannot touch 0, and it will involve positive infinity. Okay, so my range this time is 0 until positive infinity. Okay, carry on. If I have a like this, so the domain for this one, The domain will involve everything from negative infinity to positive infinity, all that over there, and it will involve all the y also. So I will have from negative infinity to positive infinity. I'm speeding. I'm driving a turbo car now. Okay, for this one, cubic with a square. I have like a fountain looking graph. So from here, this is included. Okay, so my domain is everything there. So everything there and everything there. So it's negative infinity to infinity. And my range, I have to be careful. 0, can I put it in? Yes, because if 0 squared will be 0, square root will be 0. So 0 is part of the answer. So I have 0 until positive infinity rounded. Okay, so that will be the graph function for cubic and x squared. Okay, square root of x squared cube. Square root cubic of what am I talking? Cubic of with the x squared inside that. Okay, so now there is another type of special graph which is your a squared minus x squared graph. Okay, a squared minus x squared graph is special a bit because the domain here, okay, if you did this graph before, here will be negative a and here will be a. So the domain will involve this, all that until there. So when you write the answer, it will actually be negative a until a. Close. Both included. But the range is going to be from 0, the top portion only, So from here until the top, until here, and this, because this is a squared, so this is supposed to be a also here, okay, the value. So it's going to be from 0 until a. So I will write here, 0 is included, and then until the top, the number is a, and a is also included. Okay, this one is special type of graph. Okay, it will stop at a there. Why I know it's a? Because it is actually something I can get from here. Okay, how? For example, I give you an example for you to be able to see the question. Is for example 9 minus x squared. Okay, 9 minus x squared. So this will be like square root of 3 minus x squared. 3 squared minus x squared. So you will get the number there. So how I know got positive, negative? I just take my x squared minus 9 equals to 0. X squared equals to 9. And my x is equals to plus minus 3. So that's how I know I have a negative 3 here and a 3 there. It's it's a semicircle graph. Okay, this is a formula of a semicircle. If you already gone, your teacher already taught you analytic geometry, you should be familiar of this shape. Okay? Well, now let's talk about transformation of the graph. If I could not finish this week, maybe I will continue next week with the same format, okay, of sketching of graph. Maybe I will include the what you call that, the exponent and the ln, and then trigonometry. Okay, here, if you like it, just leave a comment in the chat box if you want it. If you don't want, then we skip and we go to the next one. Right, now the rule of sketching of graph is if you have a function and you have a plus or minus, when you have a plus for a certain function, the graph is actually moving up. Okay, so if you have a function and you have a plus, the graph is moving up. If you have a function and you have a minus, the function that I'm talking about is the original function. Okay, the original function. If you have a minus, the graph is moving down. If you have like the x, is plus or the x is minus, then the graph is actually, if there is a plus on the x, the graph is actually moving to the left. Why do I say so? If you look at this, if I have my x plus c equals to 0, my x is actually minus away. This is a minus c. Okay, so I have here, if I have my x minus c equals to 0, my x is actually plus c. Okay, so it is a value from the right hand side. Your graph will be moving to the right hand side. Let's check it out. I give this simple one. Do not put up so high hope. This type of question, simple one. I just want you to see whether it's moving up or moving down only. Okay, this type of question, so far will not come out for your STPM because it's too easy. Okay, so remember, if I have the function, so now I'm talking about the function. The function now is x squared. I get rid of the earphone. All right, the function is x squared. So the function is x squared, and then I have a plus. Means my graph is moving up. So when I have plus 1, the original is 0 here. When I have plus 1, my graph will be moving upwards. Okay, when I have a function, plus means moving up on the function. So this graph here, I have to understand. Now where is my cursor? Okay, so it will be moving up here. So I need an intersection point over there. So what is this intersection point? It will be 1. So you need to label it. You need to label your xy, the name of the function, and the intersection point. Okay, let's say if I have a minus means the function is moving down. So if the function the original function is x squared, it is minus, so the function is moving downwards. So it is moving downwards like that. So over here is going to be negative 1. Okay, now just now I showed you already, when you have x plus 1. So the original graph actually are talking about this whole thing. Okay, the original graph squared. So when I have x plus 1, means my graph will be like x plus 1 equals to 0, x equals to negative 1. My graph will start from negative 1. So negative 1 is over here. So I will mark as negative 1. I know this whole thing is squared. So it is actually comparing to the original graph. So my graph will be like this. And it will cut somewhere here. So, oops, I have to like make sure it touches the, I don't have much time. So it has to touch the x-axis, yeah? It has to touch the x-axis. So it has to be a smooth graph. You cannot do crooked things like this, okay? But I'm rushing for time. That's why I'm like going faster. So how I know what is the intersection point? So when this is x equals to 0, so 0, 1, 0 plus 1, I got 1. 1 squared is 1. So I know this is 1. Okay, so if I have x minus 1, so I have x minus 1 equals to 0, x equals to 1. So you know the graph will touch at 1 here when x equals to 1. So again, this will be a smiling graph because in front here is a is 1. So I will have a graph that, again, it has to touch the x-axis. Okay, and it will cut again at x equals to 0. So negative 1 squared, you will have 1 here. So you will label everything nicely. Okay, so I will have this one when we have to know if the function. So you have to recognize the basic function. Okay, let's see another one. Let's see another one. Is it time?
1 minute more. Yes, almost
1
time.
minute more.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't have time.
Yeah.
Maybe
It's
you can
okay.
discuss this next week.
Yes,
Okay.
I can discuss this next week. Followed, if you want an exponential, long, trigonometry graph, please leave a comment below so that I know you need it. If you find that this is, I already know all this, I don't need this teacher, I only want to talk about how to answer a STPM question, you also can leave a comment in the chat. Okay, so I guess I have actually one more, which is the past year question 2017 question, but never mind, you can check it out. You can go and look at the questions, screenshot, look at the question, try it first. Next week I will discuss it. Okay, and then well, the time passes too fast. Scan and vote for me. Good luck and go get your A. Right. Bye. See you next week. Bye bye.
Okay, Alhamdulillah, finally we have done with today's lesson. We learned a lot from Teacher Im, right? Congratulations to those who are able to follow our session from the beginning until the end. And thank you very much to Teacher Im for such an interesting lesson. Okay, for your information, Academy YouTuber Malaysia together with Kelab Guru Malaysia and EDD Malaysia are working hard to provide free tuition for the pupils across Malaysia. I repeat, free tuition. So don't waste this opportunity. If you want to get more information regarding classes, check out this link, www.academyyoutuber.com. Okay, the link for the certificate is already in the chat session or not yet? Please paste the
I'm
link.
posting it right now.
Okay. So Okay,
the
wait for
password was given throughout the session, so we are not going to mention the password again right here. If you want, you can scroll back to look for the password. If you miss it, next time you have to join from the beginning.
Yes, correct. That's correct. Okay. So the link for the certificate is already in the chat session. Oh yes, Yan Shan Wong, you can use your email, your normal email. Still can use. Okay, you still can use your email. Yeah, LIMAU. Yes.
Capital letter LIMAU. Capital letter.
Okay, yes, capital letter, please. Okay, so and it will only be active for 30 minutes. 30 minutes from now. Okay, please click the link. No correction is allowed for wrongly type your email or your name. Okay. So once again, I would like to thank Teacher Im for the interesting lesson. Boys and girls, please support Teacher Im's lesson by clicking the subscribe button. Please click the subscribe button, please, now.
Yes.
Okay. Do it now. Okay, for the later list of classes, you can check www.academyyoutuber.com. Okay, that's all. Bye. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
COVID-19 semakin menular. Sekolah-sekolah terpaksa ditutup. Bagaimana dengan nasib pendidikan anak-anak kita? Sebagai ibu bapa, kita pastinya mahukan yang terbaik untuk anak-anak. Tetapi, mengapa bebankan diri dengan kelas tuition yang berbayar sedangkan ada yang percuma? Akademi YouTuber Malaysia, inisiatif dari EDD dan Kelab Guru Malaysia, membawakan anak anda kelas dalam talian secara percuma, secara langsung oleh guru-guru dari seluruh negara. Maklumat lanjut, layari www.academyyoutuber.com.
Dibawakan kepada anda oleh Akademi